Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. By the end of today, I want this car hopefully mostly back together. Back together is the goal, but if we fall short, it is what it is. Of course, we don't want to destroy the engine bay. As we are putting this thing together, I set the motor in here just on the stand to get a rough idea of how she's gonna look with the new tubbed and painted engine bay. All the hard work is pretty much done on this car. Now it's just assembly, which assembly is fun. It's nice and simple and easy, and it's not very consuming on the brain, I guess you could say. All of the tedious work, the motor build, the body work in the engine bay, the paint, the polish, all that stuff is done. So very excited for the next few days with this build, and hopefully we can get her back on the road and officially on the road. It never really was on the road before. Hopefully we can officially get it on the road soon, get this thing on the dyno, make some power, finish up all the little tedious things with it, AC, make sure all the factory functions of the car work that I care about. Of course, like the power windows, the climate control, all that good stuff I want to make work on this thing. So yeah, let's get this engine back out of the bay. We need to bolt some more stuff on it before it goes back in for hopefully the very last time ever. Get the trans and the clutch on, and then just start throwing it back together. Went ahead and got a couple little things bolted on the motor, and you guys saw I went through and zinced a bunch of hardware as well. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and put the motor and training in the car just as is. Of course, we do need to get the clutch and flywheel on, get the trans on, and then I'll slap it in the car and kind of just do accessories. Turbo manifold, turbo intake, all that stuff while it's in the car. I do need to be a little bit careful. I'm trying not to make this a show car, so I'm trying not to be like super nitpicky with everything. I know it doesn't really look that way, but I don't want this to be a situation where we put all this time and money and energy into this car and I'm just scared to drive it because I don't want to scratch it, or yeah, you guys get the point. I'm trying not to be too much of a perfectionist, but of course I want it nice. Engine and trans are back in the car. Looking very, very nice. Here's the driver's side, passenger side. I like how the motor mount's inset a little bit. Pretty sick. I am very, very excited to say and announce that we officially got the first chip in our paint out of the way. Nothing a little bit of a touch-up paint can't fix. Should be good. From here, it's gonna be a little bit tricky because we have to get the subframe and steering rack in. The subframe goes below the T-case, steering rack goes above the T-case, but the downpipe also mounts right by the T-case. So it's a whole ordeal. I think what we're gonna have to do is pull the T-case out of the car, go ahead and get the turbo kit on with the first part of the downpipe, subframe, steering rack, all that good stuff goes in, T-case goes back in, and then the second half of the downpipe is gonna go in. I should have planned this out a little bit better ahead of time, but I briefly discussed in one of the previous videos the wiring for the EPS, which is the power steering motor. I want to pass through right here. So we need to cut a hole in the firewall. That is the shape of this boot. And then this boot is gonna go on our wiring for the power steering, and it will be way cleaner than running it where it was before. Turbo is on, manifold's on, wastegate's on, downpipe is on, T-case is on, subframe, and all that good stuff is back in. Let's go ahead and knock out a bunch of things up front. We have the water pump housing and water pump, alternator, starter, what else? The belt, AC compressor, pretty much everything that goes on the front of the motor. I'm not gonna put the intake manifold on yet. I'm gonna take care of that a different day because I wanna make it cool. Made some significant progress up front. Still need to tie up a couple things, but we'll take care of that later. I need to go ahead, well, we still have this thing wide open, no intake manifold and whatnot. I need to show you guys something cool. Let's see, where would this be? I ordered this forever ago and it finally showed up. I think they're on back order. Here she is. We are converting our heater core hoses to a -10. And the reason for it is because AN lines are better. Braided lines are better and much easier to work with. So we have a bunch of line there. This is a kit from, who was this from? I forget. I'll link this kit down below. It's not obviously Type R specific. So I believe this piece right here is going to thread into our filler neck. We are running the K-Tune filler neck on this car. So let's pull that factory one off, get this guy on. This is a pretty generic thing, but the fitting for that and the fitting for the actual heater core itself, they're pretty custom. I love these little swivel fittings. When this guy is tight to the filler neck, this guy can still swivel wherever it needs and it doesn't leak. So that one is on. Let's see what goes here. I want to say it's this guy. How the freak does this work? All right, well, that presses right in. We do need to drill a little hole for the set screw so that thing don't back out. I put maybe like 2 foot-pounds on that screw and the screw snapped in half, but this thing is not coming out whatsoever. So I think we should be fine. I hope. If not, it's pretty easy to get to. Really trying to not do anything over again on this build. So I did get the piece out. Unfortunately, I did, of course, break the plastic thermostat housing. So got to replace that, but I had a feeling this is gonna blow out under pressure. Alrighty, moving on to these guys here. And these are the 2 that go on the heater core itself. Now, of course, these are meant for like an older Civic of sorts, but I'm hoping, being that Honda is Honda, let's see if they'll fit. And they fit perfectly. Kind of hard to see back there. Everything's all black, but the fitting's on, and then we have 90-degree fittings on both of the inlets for the heater core. So one's gonna be a shorty, it's gonna run, they're both gonna run it underneath the downpipe. That's the main reason we had to switch to this AN. Running all that out of just traditional hose would be pretty janky, so I like this a lot. Both gonna run under the downpipe. One is gonna connect to that 90 right there, that goes into the filler neck. The other one's gonna loop back underneath the intake manifold and connect right here whenever we get a replacement thermostat housing. New thermostat housing is installed with the adapter. Now all we have to do is go ahead and make 2 lines, the short guy and the long guy. Alrighty, the heater core hoses are all finished up. So there's the heater core there. They run back behind the downpipe. They did get a little close to the downpipe. That's why I put that heat protectant on them. Then they run right there above the trans. Number 1 connects there, number 2 runs and connects down there. Good to go. So I just spent the last couple hours redoing the front pitch stop mount. The old one was kind of janky, didn't really fit right, so I decided to redo it. And at the same time, I did set up our little press brake that I picked up from Swag Off-Road. I did opt for the finger brake press. I think it's super, super handy. No more trying to bend metal in the vise. This guy's the ticket. Now, of course, we do need a powder coat that little bracket I made. But at the same time, I do want to go through and refinish this intake manifold. It's pretty crusty. Well, it's not bad, but all the hardware is rusty. It's 3 different colors. So that's like a splatter black, that's a semi-gloss black, that's a brown, that's a splatter black. And the splatter black, or the wrinkle black, doesn't really match the valve cover and the timing cover. It's not way off, but the main reason I want to redo it is just because I don't like all the different colors. So this thing is going to be stripped down. I got a little intake rebuild kit. So all the new gaskets, new hardware, that is silver zinc. Y'all know it ain't gonna stay silver zinc, but it does look good. I need to go ahead, strip this thing down, and get it ready to recoat. All right, we got the factory powder coat off. These 2 centerpieces, they are anodized, so the stripper would not have done anything there. From here, I'm gonna go ahead and sandblast it. I bolted it all together just so we do not have to mask all the gasket areas. So let's go ahead and get it blasted, and then we need to do some more masking, powder coat it, the splatter black, pull it back apart, clean, and reassemble. Intake manifold and the motor mount bracket are in the oven, and while those guys are baking, I'm gonna grab a helicoil kit because I ruined a thread. Intake manifold is all finished up out of the oven, and it looks so much better, all one color. If you guys can remember, here's what it looked like before. Now here it is after. I'm gonna pull this all back apart, get everything cleaned out 100% spotless. Of course, there cannot be any sand going through the engine, and gotta get it out of all the threads and everything. And then we need to run through and, of course, zinc plate all of our hardware. That, my friends, is why you gotta pull stuff apart and re-clean. Here are all of the pieces for the intake manifold. There's 4 in total, and our beautiful zinc plated hardware. Yellow zinc on splatter black has got to be the best combo in the world. This is going to look so freaking good. The intake manifold is complete, minus one thing. Fortunately, I was not able to save the factory badge. You guys probably thought you misheard me. I did say fortunately, and the reason I said fortunately is because of this. The one lonely titanium piece that this car gets. Now, I'm not sure if this is the cleanest engine bay in the world, but it's definitely 100% the cleanest engine bay that I've ever built. Pretty much all finished up in the bay. All that we have left is the wiring harness, which is going to go to the coil packs, the injectors, and the sensors. We have the fuel rail with the injectors, and other than that, the bay is complete. I love how it looks, just the engine, turbo kit. Looks like it's just chilling in the bay with not a bunch of random stuff piled around it. I haven't decided yet if it bugs me enough to redo the valve cover. I'm not sure what wrinkle black this is, but you can see it's a little bit different than the timing cover, the intake manifold, and every other splatter black piece on this car. I do prefer this to that. It has a tiny bit more shine to it. I'm just not sure if that's a big enough difference to redo. I may redo it in the future. For now, I'll leave it. If you guys want to use the splatter black we just put on the intake manifold, I'll go ahead and link it down below. And if you want to pick up the titanium skunk 2 intake badge, I will link that down in the description box below as well with my discount code to save you guys 10% on not only this, but every other JDC part in the world. If you guys know, Bobby's STI, her engine bay is cluttered and filled with titanium JDC parts. Drop comment in the comment section and let me know what you guys think of the FK8 all-wheel drive engine bay. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out, my good friends, and I'll see you in the next video.